Yeah, 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 yeah. What's up, guys? Um, in this video, I want to talk about something that I never really hear other people talk about. Um, and I think it can be related to being like a genuinely nice person and your experience in life. So, a lot of people will say like, nice guys finish last and things like this. And I think there's actually a lot of truth to this. Um, and I want to talk about like at least a concept that I came up with myself. Um, Excuse the music. I hope you can still hear me, but just we're in a cafe and it's bumping. But a concept I came up with is I think there's a difference between like negotiators and like takers, and I think very few people are actual negotiators. So what 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 I mean by negotiator is like these people, want to actually come to like a compromise with you when they're interacting with you, and make sure that you get the good end of the stick and they also get a good end of the stick, win-win deals. um, and this is not just in dating, this is in everything in life. They negotiators, are the people who actually want to give you, a good experience, and they want to win as well. Win-win partnerships, I guess you could call them. But there's some people who are just takers, and these people are the people that size you up, and they use power dynamics to get what they want. And some people never grow out of this, and you see this in children. For example, like even young children, they pick up on the teacher's authority through body language, their tone, and how the teacher, disciplines the students. And then if the teacher has a, kind of weak tone, has soft body language, maybe is quite sensitive, doesn't defend manipulation well, then the kids will just start acting up like crazy. And I remember this as a kid. And you could remember that even when substitute teachers came in, the kids always tested them to see if they could, to see what type of person the substitute was. And if the substitute didn't do much, then the kids would just act up like crazy, and like this is really important because you can't just go through life expecting that everybody is just going to look out for you in the best way possible. For me, I don't want to say I pride myself on it, but I try to do my best in letting everybody get a win and me win also. So for example, if I meet somebody and they seem super unconfident, or they even seem kind of socially confused, like I won't try to just like get my way with them in however I want, just because I could. And that's the difference. Like you have to be self-directed, but not everybody is like this. Some people are just straight up takers. They size you up when they first meet you. They watch your tone. How tall are you? How do you conduct yourself? Do you stand tall or do you not? Do you talk with a loud voice? Do you talk with a powerful voice? And then based off of that, that's how they decide to treat other people. And it's BS. I don't support it at all. Like I'm saying, one sec. Somebody I know is coming up. Anyways, apologize for the interruption. I'm in a quieter spot now, I believe. But some people, I guess, never grow out of this, or maybe they don't have the ability to distinguish between confidence and competence. They'll see someone with, confident body language, and they'll assume that person is competent, so won't try to manipulate them, but will try to manipulate, somebody else. So who has, weaker body language or weaker or softer tone or whatever. So whenever you enter into a you know, to a relationship with anybody, you have to identify, is this person like, you know, like more of a negotiator, like someone who actually wants you to win, or is this person somebody who's just uses power dynamics, especially when you start to argue with somebody, like um because some people don't want you to be right. You can start being calm in a logical way and they'll get more angry and just keep switching the goalposts, and like you can't just be so innocent about it. You have to an extent be a little bit cynical, like um so when you if you ever get into a disagreement with somebody else or have a conflict with somebody else, I always, like, for me, I recommend focusing on creating your boundaries as your first priority before you focus on making your point, because the very first thing that you have to put a stop to is other people's disrespect, and then you can make a point after that. So like if you're talking with somebody and they say, like, you're kind of having a disagreement and they say something disrespectful, don't just continue to try to make your point in a logical way. First, you want to create the boundary by saying, that's not okay that you spoke to me like that, and I'm about to exit this conversation, and then maybe make your point just for the record. Or you could be like, it doesn't seem like you want to have a polite exchange of information, like, because not everybody even cares about their point that they're making when they argue with you. They don't even care about the point or the outcome. The only thing they're looking for is to gain power over you. And this is what a lot of people do. Even the other day I was skateboarding, and this guy, there was one guy who was about to go. You have to take your turn on the obstacle. I wasn't sure if he was gonna go, so I asked, "Are you gonna go?" And then his friend, for some reason, thought it was okay to just mock me. He just looks at me. He's like, "Are you gonna go?" Like he was just totally trying to mock me. And I could have been like super logical, like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go," and then just go. But no, then I would have lost, because him mocking me was testing my boundaries. He was trying to orient himself of whether he's above me or not. It had nothing to do with logic. You have to, like, it's a test that this guy was making. And if I lost that test, if I didn't recognize that he was mocking me, and I just said, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go, it's my turn," then I almost guarantee a couple minutes later he would have made another snarky remark. And if you even watch throughout history, this is how it is. Like, the Holocaust was committed largely by ordinary people, and so people become susceptible to just, they don't have, how do I explain it? They're not really living by principle. They just look at what they can do, and they become more and more evil over time. Most people do not have hard stop principles, and you see this in the Stanford prison experiments, if you look those up, where they did this experiment where there was these students, and it was like a simulation. They made a prison, and there were other students who were prisoners, and there were guards, there were fake guards. And over the course of a few days, the guards started to mistreat the hell out of the prisoners. And it got so bad that they had to actually cancel the whole experiment, because most people don't really live by principle. They just live by how far that they can continue their power. If they can break through someone's boundaries, then they will. And this is how people end up getting the worst end of the deal. Like, this is how sometimes even the smartest employees will end up not being promoted, not being treated well, because they don't understand that there's power dynamics at play. Like sometimes you have to use strong tone, you have to use strong body language, you have to set boundaries. And if you're lucky enough in your life to meet somebody to where you don't have to set boundaries because they never cross them anyways, they're self-directed, then you'll be very fortunate. But I found that most people are not that way. Like even very normal people are not that way. And this is how you see these, marriages where two ordinary people like are married, and the woman will just slowly, it can sometimes be the man too, but the woman will slowly just kind of keep crossing a man's boundaries, and he doesn't stop it because he thinks, oh, if I just keep being nice to her, she'll change. But it's not about logic. A lot of people don't change no matter what, unless they are stopped, like unless they are forcefully stopped by you telling them, hey, you're not going to talk to me like that, or by communicating in general that you don't allow people to talk to you like that. So yeah, some people just keep taking more and more ground, and a lot of people are like this, and you'll realize this if you act very kind around people. They'll start to take control, and so yeah, I say pay attention to it. Don't be so innocent and naive to think that people will not use power dynamics. Like, I've even seen this before. I really realized this when I was on a road trip with my two friends, and I had this idea, and my friend, who was a little bit stronger in his body language and tone, he just completely overpowered my idea for what I wanted to do on the road trip, and he didn't even, actually he overpowered my friend and I. We wanted to do something on the road trip, and he just said no, like, we're not doing it. He didn't let us discuss at all, even though there was 3 of us and 2 of us disagreed with him, because I was being soft, and I didn't set boundaries, and in the past I didn't set boundaries, and I just allowed it to happen. But these days I would say, no, you're not gonna decide for us. My friend and I are gonna get a say in this. So you can't expect people to listen to you just because you have an idea. There's a lot of people that are going off power dynamics, and that's it, basically. So yeah, you have to think about both. Whenever you get into a discussion or disagreement with someone, ask yourself, is this person using power dynamics, or are they not? Or do they actually want you to win? If they're using power dynamics, it's actually possible you can't win. All you have to do is call out their bad behavior, and that's it. And there's nothing more you can do, because some people will continue to switch the goalposts. And hopefully, you're not in the presence of people who are doing this type of thing. It is rare, but I'm not saying that this happens a lot. But if you're on the nicer side, the nicer man, even nicer woman, and more gentle, you'll experience this type of thing a lot, even if it's very subtle. Like, it can even happen in the form of, I'll share one more example, then I'll get off. I was with 5 people once, and then we were deciding where to eat, right? And every time somebody else spoke up, hello, how's it going? And every time somebody else spoke up, their idea would be heard. But then when I would speak up, I probably spoke 5 times, and nobody listened. Literally, I was I kept naming the X restaurant or whatever, and nobody listened. And I feel like that's because of being a servant. When you make yourself a servant and you show this kind of soft weakness from the start, then people don't even hear your voice anymore. So now I will change. I will call out that behavior next time. I will say, hey, I spoke up 5 times, no one heard, but every time somebody else spoke up once, everybody heard. So yeah, you gotta watch for that. All right, peace out. What up, guys? It's a few days later. I'm just having a few afterthoughts on the video that I filmed. One real quick thing I want to say is that to an extent, you do have to be a taker a little bit, or you have to not be afraid to come up and step on people's boundaries a little bit, because how do I explain this? People people are gonna set boundaries that are in their best interest. So sometimes those people set those boundaries way too wide, and it's to the point that you have to step on it, and it's natural. Like, for example, let's say that there's some girl you like, and she went on a date with some dude named Johnny, and you can't be like, oh wow, she went on a date with Johnny, now I can't ask her out. Even if they're not even in an official relationship, you can't think like that, because obviously, this guy doesn't want you going out with her. If he could set his boundaries, he would make it so that no one can go out with her. But you can't follow everybody's boundaries, because people think in their best interest. So if the girl you like goes out with Johnny and they're not in an official relationship yet, well, you can just go ask her out. Unless it's like your best friend or something. But I think, you know, in general, people are going to set boundaries that are within their best interest, and sometimes those boundaries, that they're asking for way too much. And even just when you assume, you should never assume that you're a bad person just for um, doing something that someone else wouldn't like, because sometimes you have to be a little bit of a, I guess, a taker, or to do well within what's your right to do. But the goal is to not disrespect people, and it's to not have an agenda. You don't want to be taking from other people and making them feel weak, just as having an agenda, because that's like predatory. That's what a wolf does, just preys on, kills other predators just for fun. And that's not what we're trying to do. If we're trying to go after something in life, we're trying to do it for good reasons, because it's necessary, and we're going to be respectful about it. But it's never about testing someone's boundaries just to for us to feel strong. Yeah. All right, peace out.